How many are familiar with the concept of paradigm shift? It's actually a science term. What that means is we often see things one way, then something happens and we go, we see it differently. And I think part of what I want to talk about in terms of bullying with sports is I want to create a paradigm shift with how we see athletes. And I think coaches and athletes are in a great place in terms of becoming certain kind of leaders in their school. It's coming from. Who bullies who in sports? We have athlete to athlete, which is what we talked about. Athlete to non-athlete, so you have kids who are athletes in schools, and then you have the kids who are not athletes. The best image I can take is what you get from Glee, when you see those episodes of scenes in terms of football players and the slushies in their face. Coach to athlete, which talked about the bully coach. Parent to athlete, and a lot of times parents are bullies to their kids. They might be bullying to the umpire, but to their own kids, screaming, intimidating them, expecting them to do certain things, and then parent to coach. So we hit all those different core areas. What's the definition of bullying? It creates a what? An imbalance of power. And that's what we learned. The HIB law is like 3 different PowerPoint slides, but ultimately it's about a creation of imbalance of power. It's not conflict resolution, it's about an imbalance of power. So here's some forms of bullying on the fields. Verbal, social, physical, cyber, and hazing. Cyber is the fastest growing form of bullying. You're familiar with cyberbullying?
The teacher sat there and let it go on. He should be fired because they're there to help protect the kids.
2 Mid-State coaches lose their positions over bullying and fighting in a locker room.
The dark uniforms faced the Redskins from Riverbank. It was towards the end of the game, less than a minute to play. The score had the Redskins leading 16-6. And then a second after the play ended, a late hit. The Redskin player hit by a Stockton Bear. And right after that, the Redskin player's father, who is also an assistant coach, runs onto the field to deliver his own knockdown tackle.
So emails from the Owasso superintendent reveal 7 football players from Owasso High are sitting on the bench this Friday because they paddled sophomore teammates. It's hazing, and the school says it's not allowed, but that doesn't mean it's not a common occurrence in locker rooms across Green Country.
According to the University of Maine, 47% of high schoolers have been the victims of hazing.
At Grant, students say the hazing tradition is called G-ing and can involve roughing up young students by punching them in the groin or even anal penetration with a finger or object. But many students maintain it did not go that far with this incident.
Unfortunately for Stephanie Gagnon, it was also a painful part.
You want to belong and you want them to like you. They wanted to give me a sorley, which is putting your head in the toilet.
They ended up dropping Gagnon on her head, causing permanent brain damage.
The school never notified my mom of what happened. It is that painful going through it all over again, especially for something I'm so passionate about.
Like Denson, Gagnon says the hazing was bad, but the aftermath was worse. She says her coaches blew her off, and she even had to leave her school.
It makes the victim feel like the bad guy. People will say, you know, they were just fooling around. Kids will be kids. There are different ways to build a team. There are different ways to earn respect.
Statistics show coaches turn a blind eye to what goes on in the locker room and off the field. Nearly half of students involved in a hazing incident say an adult knew about it. 22% say the coach was in on it.
My approach with bullying and bullying in sports, by the end, is I really see as an opportunity to really engage coaches and athletes to kind of turn athletes, the world of culture of athletes upside down. Often in schools, which group of kids are often focused as the kids who bully? Which population is it? It's usually the jocks.
Yeah.
Right? They're the ones who are usually accused of being the big bullies. Not so much that they're really aggressive out there bullying, there are some people that do that, but part of what we do as coaches is we often give them that team mentality. And so on special days, on game days, you dress up on your jersey and you come in at something special, so you kind of raise yourself up against the rest of the school population. So it's my hope using with coaching and coaches and athletes, we can somehow turn that model upside down. You just set something called the bully circle. So you have a target, and you have what is called the initiator. Right? The initiator is the one that does what? This is the most common form. Starts it, right? And this could be anybody, especially on a sports team. This could be one of your best players, could be one of your, it could be anybody that initiates it. And then you have what is called the motivator. What's the motivator do? Last rips, right? And the focus is on who? Ha ha ha, that's ugly and you're funny. 2 very aggressive bullies. So now you have the cheerleader, taking the theme of sports. 2, 4, 6, 8. Where's their attention? Where's their focus? Is it on the target? Or is it on, it's on these two? They're cheering on the initiator motivator. And a lot of kids start cheering them on. Why? Right? If I support it, I go into it,
I'm not going to be a victim.
I'm not going to be a victim. So these guys are funny, it's cool. We're just JK. What does JK stand for? We're just kidding. We're just joking, what's the big deal? And so you have these cheerleaders going on, and it increases their excitement. Doesn't stop it. So then you have the fanatic. Again, taking the sports themes. Now these people are the ones that we have Giants fans, Jet fans, Knicks fans, right? These are the guys that dress up before the game, right? They go an hour and a half, 2 hours before the game, get their makeup on, right? They're throwing footballs in the parking lot, got the brought some beers. They walk the same exact gate, up the same exact path, sit the exact same way on the chair because somehow, some way, their involvement as a fan has a direct impact to what goes on the field, right? That they for somehow know if they go to the bathroom at the wrong time, their team is going to fumble the balls. They won't go to the bathroom because they somehow, those are fanatics. It's not much different in terms of bullying. It's cool. This guy's like, this is cool. This is the kid that runs out that here's something going on. They just want to go out and see it. They're not really cheering it, they're just happy something's going on, and they're excited to be a part of it. Then you have the observer, usually the spouse of the fanatic, but in bullying, it's cool, but they're thinking one thing, at least it's not me. At least it's not me. And this is the kid that's probably not as great, but you know what? If this target's not there at practice that day, who's going to be the focus? This kid. All right? So this kid loves it when this target's there. As a matter of fact, if this kid comes to practice or the game, I'm home free. It's only when this one doesn't show up, he realizes that something's going to happen. It's cool, and so he kind of hangs out in the circle to get acknowledgement. So with the aggressive ones over here, he hopes that what? If he sees them as part of it, doesn't interfere with it, this, I'm going to be accepted, I'm going to be cool too. So then finally you have the ostrich. Right? What does an ostrich do? Their head's in the sand, right? So this is the player, this is the kid that knows it's wrong, but does nothing. They do nothing because they don't want to get picked on. They don't want the attention to come to them. Why else do they, what? If they know it's wrong, why do they not do anything about it?
They don't want to become the tool.
They don't know how. At the end of the day, they don't have the tools or the skill sets to handle it. And so part of what, in terms of changing the paradigm, is it's focusing on this bystander. 80% of teams, kids, are right there. They know it's wrong, they don't know what to do. And they know if they stand up and say something, it's going to take all the energy and focus off of them. And they don't want that because that's all the team up against them. But there could be 4 or 5 players that all feel the same way, and if it's called swarming, they swarm together and they all stand up together and say, wait a second, we're 80% don't want this. It changes. It feels like they don't have any power. What can I do? Nothing I can do about it. Now, every now and then, you can see how it kind of forms a circle, and it literally does forms some kind of a circle. We have what is called the G, the guardian, right? Less than 0.5% of kids, even adults, can't even do this. I do it now because I stand up, which is why I got yelled at my son's baseball game, because I'm an upstander. My son comes off the field screaming, "Dad, stop," because I'm embarrassing him, but ultimately I'm standing up to what's going on. Less than 0.5%. But what kids don't know, in terms of helping them, is all they have to do is remove the target. That's it. Come with me, let's go over here, let's pick up some balls, let's go chase down to first base. The moment they pick this up and remove it, what's going to happen to the group? It stops. And so there's lots of ways of subtle things, but kids don't necessarily have that skill set. Coaches can teach it in lots of different ways. You can certainly stand up and say, this is what I expect. And I want to be able to have conversations and different things about what we expect in terms of how we're going to behave on and off the field. But if you tell 11-year-olds how they can do that instead of being teased, you just go and say, hey, listen, I need some help with my baseball. I need some help picking up some equipment. It just takes them right out of it. You remove them from the whole thing. They don't have to deal with it anymore. And sometimes kids, because they have these great content of character, actually know the kid, the initiator. And they don't care. He'll take the ribbon because at the end, it doesn't matter to him. So you can remove the target, but come directly at him if you know him. This is called the bully. Have you ever heard of this bully circle before? Right? It's kids, when it comes to being an athlete, they have a different relationship with their coach. They put their coach in this place where, ooh, the coach is not as kind of resistant as often with as they are with teachers. So already in a situation between coach and athlete, you're creating a win-win situation in terms of kids with coaches. So if coaches buy into this, we tell them we're as concerned about your behavior off the field as you are on the field. Meaning, I tell my players and coach for me that what you do on the field is important, and you know it's very important for me, but how you handle yourself off the field is even more important. I'm concerned about how you act off the field than on the field, and this is how much I care about you on the field. I think we have a chance to create a paradigm shift in using those kids in school, because with those relationships, you can take advantage of them. Make sense? So that's a paradigm.